Good evening, everyone. So till now, 11 members have joined. We'll wait for a few more members to join, at least 20. Meanwhile, if you have any doubts, you can raise it here. You can either unmute yourself or put it in the chat box. Is this regarding RDPMS? All the companies follow only language. What we are learning is actually internet technologies. RDPMS is a different subject. Internet technologies is a bunch of various technologies that are used for those tools or softwares to be developed which can be used in the internet. When we say those tools or softwares which will make the internet to function, it also includes as a part of it a connectivity to the RDBMS. RDBMS is exclusively meant for storage of data, retrieval of data, whereas internet technologies is a vast field in which there are multiple languages being used. You have got HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you have got jQuery, you have got Bootstrap, you have got many Vue.js, lots many. All of them, they work hand in hand. Some part of code will be written in one language, some part will be written in another language. Collectively, they work together to make a software which can be executed through internet URLs, which can be accessed through internet. So, internet technologies is a vast subject, whereas RDBMS is just a part of it which will concentrate only on the storage of data. Regarding do all the companies follow only language, that is, you are talking about RDBMS language, almost all will follow one standard which is common for all of them, which is SQL, standard query language. Earlier it was different for different companies, but nowadays it has been adopted as a standard for all of them. But some of the companies still want their own syntax, their own style of writing code, so they will have their own minor additions to what is standardly given. I hope I answered your question. Good. Is there any other doubt? Which ideally is used for Python? Actually, don't call it as IDLE, it is called as IDE, Integrated Development Environment. This integrated development environment is a graphical user interface which will lead us to have a preview of what is the code that we have written, as well as it will give certain tools to compile the data and to execute the data by just making a click, which will help us in tracking what code has been written, where we have made a mistake. It will just highlight all those details. So IDE is used for development, but in case of our we need not go for any IDE and is best for us because we are learning from scratch. We need to know where we are making a mistake, where we are stumbling upon. If the IDE itself is popping up where you have made a mistake, then you will not be able to learn where you will commit a mistake, usual occurrences of mistakes. Once you are through with your notepad coding, then you can jump on for IDE. With regard to what you have asked, IDE used for Python, there are various IDEs available. You have got Spider, you have got Orange, you have got a collection bunch of them together, put it into one single part called as Anaconda. You have got many. All of them work almost the same. But as a developer, we should not concentrate more on IDE because what we need to concentrate on as a developer is what is the logic that we are going to implement, how that logic can be enhanced in the best performance order. That should be our prime motto. Whatever idea is given that's useful for us, we should get adapted to it. But when it comes for preference, when it comes for HTML type of coding or web development coding, we prefer Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver is given by Adobe. It is one of the IDEs available for web development, but it is just for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But when we try to integrate our HTML programs for server-side scripting, these IDEs will fail. We need server-side scripting languages oriented IDEs. For example, if we are using .NET, then we will be using Visual Studio. When we use ASP.NET as a server-side scripting language, then we'll be using Visual Studio. You can have Visual Core, whatever you wish, but that is from Microsoft. When it comes for Java, JSP type of coding, then you will be using uh, either NetBeans, which is given by Java itself, now it is Oracle, or you can have one more, which is called as Eclipse. It is also good one, which you can use. Is it fine? Okay. So, thank you. As I remember, let me see how many members have joined. If it is at least 15, we'll start the class. Okay, 20 minutes, good. I was expecting 20. So, without wasting much time, we'll start our class. As I remember, we have already gone through this particular program. Just for a quick review, our prime motto was to develop a web page which will contain different width and height of text. To introduce different width and height of text, in the text, once it is written, nothing should be written along with it. It should appear as a heading, and whatever is going to come after that text should come in the next lines. So for that reason, we'll be using for introducing different heights and widths, we'll be using h1 tag. These tags are from h1 to h6, and h1 being the highest width and height. So for that reason, when we want to develop this web page, first thing that we need to know is we are keeping a title to that web page. So we need to write some code in the header part of our web page. And there is some displayable matter in the web page. That displayable matter will be kept in the body part of our web page. I'll be muting the class just for 2 minutes. So, uh, I'm sorry, I had to mute for some time. Am I audible to all? Can I be acknowledged for it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So we were revising back what program we have done, and we have concluded that to introduce this styling, to introduce this height and width, we have to use the H1 or H1 to H6 tags. Those were called as header tags. Now, when we are using those header tags, we have to write it in the body. So H1, I have written the first heading. This is the second heading, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And then once the body displayable matter is over, we'll close the body and then we'll close the HTML. So this was the thing that we have learned earlier. So regarding it, I have kept few notes. I hope you have gone through those notes. And here I also told that you can see that all these tails are coming in one single line. They are aligned to left hand side. But if you wish all the text to appear in the middle of the web page, it should not appear on the left corner. It should appear in the middle of the web page. Then you can have align equal to center. Just you need to write H1, put a space before this closing of element. Then after space, write down align equal to in double quotes either left, center, right, or justified. If you want everything to be put in one single line on the right side, use the align as right. If you want both the sides to be equally maintained, then use justify. So those were a few of the things. But now I want an output of this nature. There is a name of the author. Stephenson said, in double quotes, I am writing that whatever he has said. He has said this line. Whatever statement that Stephenson has made, I am putting in double quotes. And I am telling that I tend to agree with that particular quote. In the next line, you can see I have kept some indentation here. And this particular text is appearing with a gap on the above line. It's not coming in the very next line to it. It's coming with a gap. And then after it also there is a gap. In fact, there is nothing. That's why we are not able to notice it. But there is a gap after that particular line. So this is a block. Whereas this one, whatever you have written, has been quoted by another author. So I'm telling who is the author, and then I'm telling what is a quote. So how do we introduce quote? In order to introduce quotations, we'll use Q tag. What is the tag that we'll be using? Q tag. So first thing, I'm keeping a tag web page, a simple one as we did earlier. So that particular part is closing in the head. Next, coming in the body, from here to here, everything should be kept in one single paragraph. So for that reason, I have used a P tag. I have kept a P tag. I want this Sean Stephenson. He is the author of that quote. So he has cited a particular quote. So I will be using his name in cite tag. This cite tag will tell who is the author for the coming on quote. I have written said, what that person has said, Q. This cite is a attribute. This site in the blue color is actually the name of the tag. This is the attribute of Q tag, Q for quote. This site will tell in green color will tell that whatever is the quotation that I have written here is as per the website given here. I'm not claiming that that person has made that particular statement. I'm telling that that particular statement has been copied from this particular website or from this resource. It will help us to remove illicit type of accusations or ill-intended usage of different quotations. We'll be able to see who has quoted, from where it has been quoted, and what is the quote. Now to give what is the quote within the Q tag, opening and closing of the Q tag, I'll be writing what is the exact quote. Do remember I have not introduced here double quotations, grammatical double quotations. Whereas you can see here, grammatical double quotations are coming in. So Q tag automatically introduces double quotes for us right from the starting point of our Q tag to ending of Q tag. Next, I have written as usual, I tend to agree. The paragraph has closed. So here there is a complete one single line of paragraph is there. Next, I need to have a block. A block quote, the tag used for making a block quote is again block quote, one single word. It also has from where it has been cited, what is the website that we are using to claim that this is correct. That's a quotation that you need to introduce, like what green statement we have written here. You can keep anything, but it should be as per the website given in there. Then I will close the block code. So it will make this block to appear in a separate line as well as with a separate indentation. We'll have indentation on the left hand side as well as on the right hand side. But since the web page is very large, very wide, we are not able to see what is the indentation on the right hand side, but actually it will introduce on both the levels. So I hope this program is clear. Now the displayable matter is over. So I'm closing the body and then closing of the HTML. The same thing I have kept over here. Now what is the difference between Q tag and block quote? Why do we use it? Q tag will be used when you want to uh, make a statement within the given paragraph itself. You don't need any indentations before and after it. You need within the paragraph, within this statement, you need to have some quotation to be introduced. So it is called as inline quotation. When you have got inline quotations, you will be using a Q tag. Whereas a block quote will be introduced when you want to give different separate block for the quotation that you are making. So go through the theory once, whatever I have cited over there. I hope here there are no doubts. If it is there, please put it in the chat box. Explain it roughly once. Okay, no issues. My main ambition of my program is to write one single paragraph, and within the paragraph, I want to have a quotation given by some author. So the author name should be somewhat highlighted. It should be little italics. Now I can use italics tag also. That italics will be, can you see there is some sharpening, some less thickening of this width of the text is lesser than what we have here. Can you see this H and this H? This H is thinner than this H. Same way, this will give throughout translation standards will appear as if this is the name of the author. And what it has been said, what that author has said should be kept in double quotes so that it looks like a statement made by the author. So to have all those effects, we need a Q tag. This Q tag stands for quote tag. This quote tag will have a particular attribute called as cite. Cite will tell from where this particular statement that I have written in green is copied, that we have kept in double quotes has been copied. It's very important because various persons will say you have copyrighted from others. But if you mention from where you have actually copied it, they will say, okay, you have mentioned the source of it, so you are not claiming that it's yours. So for that reason, we'll be using a cite tag. It's optional. But if you mention it is always preferred. And you have got this like cite attribute, you have got cite as a tag itself. That cite tag will keep this particular effect, thinning of the text and making it as italics so that it looks like an author name. So for that reason, we'll be using a tag. Now, I don't want within the line itself the code should be used. For example, this said is a part of normal text. Whereas from this double quote to the closing of double quote it is a part of a quotation. And then I tend to agree is a normal text. So I'm putting a quotation within the normal text, which is in line. We say it as within the line or inline. When we are using inline quotations, we'll use a Q tag, but if we are trying to maintain that quotation separate from the text itself, normal text, we don't want it to mingle with it, then we'll use block quote. Do remember, block quote is one single word. I hope I have answered it correctly. Shall we move on to next slide? Okay. Coming on next, uh, earlier we have seen in one of the programs I used a strong tag, and I said that strong tag will thicken the text. But sometimes there are two things that we need. At that time, I said that to thicken the text rather than increasing its length and width, I just want thickening of the matter. For example, can you see this T, or let us say H, this H, and here in this you have got one more H. Can you see the thickening of this H than this one? So you have got, for thickening purpose, you have got a tag called as strong. Very similar to strong, you have got one more tag called as bold, B tag. We'll see over here what is the actual difference between them. But to make this text to appear in thickening format, I have two choices. One is to use bold, second is to use strong. Why we will prefer one for the other, I will tell it. So what I am doing is, this is to be written, what is written here, this is to be written in normal text. So for that reason, first I will have my title to be generated up, then I will have the closing of it, then in the body I'm writing this is as normal without any tagging to it. Now this important is to be highlighted, is to be little thickened up. So for that reason I have kept important in strong within the opening and closing tags of strong. Now once I have written that it with a dot, it is in normal. Then really is important is to be kept again in strong because I want to highlight it. Okay. And further, जी, ठीक है. हाँ. So, uh, and this is even important is to be again written. So, but I'm telling in this statement itself, as a statement states, this is more important than what is written here. So I'm writing strong again within this opening tag only. I have not closed the red one. Again, I'm writing strong, and this is very important, even more important. I have closed that particular part, and then I have closed the second strong, red color strong, and body is closed, and then the actually image has come on top of that. So why I have used strong tag here? Usually, when we speak, if a very important topic comes in, very important statement is to be made, we'll try to increase our tone of speech, as well as we will try to make a significant loud effect in it so that it can be understood that whatever I'm telling is really important. Can you just realize I said really and really? There is a slight difference while I am speaking it. Really, really. So when I'm trying to say really, I'm trying to stress on that one. To have a stress, to say that it's very important, I'll try to say strong as a tank. It's like a psychological impact on the persons. So two things are there. One is just a visual impact, second is a psychological impact. So in case of psychological significance, some importance to be given, you'll try to use strong tag, but you don't need much stressing on it. you just need some thickening of text, then you will use a bold tag, B tag. So the definition and the differences I have kept over here, please go through it. You will get to know what I'm trying to say. As I said, strong is logical state and bold is physical state. Physical in the sense, just in the appearance, it will look like thickening of text, but it will not have any uh, impotence of it internally. Whereas when it comes for strong, it's having a logical reasoning why I'm stressing on that, and it will make that particular text to be read a little bit loud. There was a doubt in my mind, where will these two, when I am trying to read a web page, these two appear the same? These two tags will give the same look and feel. But where do I feel that difference? As I said, the web industry is not just meant for normal people, it can also be meant for blind people. We have got browsers which will read the text loudly for us, and while reading it, to increase the pitch and tone, you use a strong rather than that of bold. But if you don't want to increase the tone, we just need to make it as a bold in nature, then you make use bold tag. So that's the main difference between them. There is one more called as emphasis. In HTML5, this emphasis has been introduced, which is very similar to that of strong, but it has got little more impact than that of strong. For example, I'm trying to emphasize that I love carrots, whereas I'm writing just I love carrots. Not to tell that there is a warning, and this is very dangerous. Can you see this text? Here, warning has been kept in strong, so it is appearing a little bit like thickening of text, and it will be read like warning you, something like that. And it is very dangerous. So I'm stressing that matter. But whereas in case of emphasis, I don't want to make it as bold. I don't want to thicken the love over here. I just want to emphasize on it. I just want to stress on it. I need to tell that there is an emotional impact over there. I love carrots, whereas I love carrots. There is a difference between these two. So there are these chats which are having some logical and some physical states. One is bold, which is very like uh, it's plain. It is not having any impact. It is not having any psychological effect. Whereas strong is having some stressing on it. Whereas emphasis is going to introduce some emotional impact to it. So please go through that particular text. It will clarify what I have said. Coming on for next, the same thing. There is a thing that we have already gone through called as site. It was used for, this is a tag. Do you remember it has been kept in two elements, so it's a tag. So this site was used for creating an impact to make text appear as if it is the name of the author. Same thing over here. I want this particular output. Usually, when you want to say that I have taken this particular statement from so and so reference, so you can write that particular reference in the quote by using site attribute, but sometimes you want to use its reference number. That reference number will be enlisted or will be indexed out in the reference column in the last section of our project files. So when I want to use create an impact of this nature, I'll use site tag. So it's simple. Within this text is as usual normal, but here in this site I have kept ISO so and so number. So that's all. As I said, it is mainly used for referencing work. So please go through that particular site. Whatever I have discussed is the same. Hope these two slides are clear for everyone. on the next slide. Okay, good. Here, I have got some text written, but it is somewhat large and this is somewhat big. Can you see this B and this B? There is a difference in size. Whereas this large is also having some what difference? I'm not having any L. Yeah, here it is. Can you see this L and this L? It is having some difference between those two sizes. Have that particular impact, as well as this L and this L. This one is smaller than this one. To have that differences in the sizes of the text, you have certain tags called as big to introduce bigger size and small to make the text appear in a little bit smaller size. Where they will be used, why they will be used, we'll try to see one after the other. So to create this particular web page, what we'll do is, as usual, head will remain as it is, as in the previous one. Now I'm trying to have some gap between these lines, so I will try to have p tag for them. So within the p, I'm writing the HTML big tag specifies. The HTML big tag specifies. This is all in normal text. Whereas this one should appear little larger or bigger. To have that thing, first I will try to have big as if tag, then I will write large within the big. Now you can keep same way instead of large as big also, which I have kept in the brackets. Then text was appearing in the normal form. Now this paragraph ended, I need to write this as second line as a paragraph. So again I have started the paragraph. Here comes the same matter. Till here it is the normal text, but this should appear in a smaller form. So for the small word, I will write small. And the text should appear in the normal text. So closing of it. Now here it is having some contact, some link over here for the name. Then I have got one copyright symbol with copyright 2058 something, some corporation name. Usually this will come in the footer section of our web page. So to introduce a footer section of the web page, we'll have a tag called as footer. In this footer, since this is contact, it's an address, I'll write address as the tag. And then within the address, I'll write contact as the word. And then I will try to have the name, this Homer Simpson is there. For this one, a hyperlink is to be established. So I'll write anchor tag, h reference, and when I click it, it should send an email to it. So for that reason, we'll have, instead of URL, we will have mail to some email address. Mail to colon some email address. So this link will actually, when we click on this blue text, it will open the default computer's email client, and through that client, I will be able to send an email to them. So here is the H reference created. Now I have to write Homer Simpson now. I'll write Homer Simpson, then close the anchor tag so that it will become a link. Once it is done, I'll close the address. Then this copyright is little smaller than the contact. See why I'm using small now? Small tag, copyright, whatever you want to write, then close the small, then close the paragraph, then footer, then body, then HTML. So a small thing that I would like to tell you, but it will make you distracted. When I was practicing it, can you see what is the output of this entire program? Only 4 lines. But to get that output, 4 lines of output, how many lines we have written here? Quite a bit more, right? In HTML, you will have lots of tags being used and you'll have lots of lines of code. But it's very plain, simple, and easy to understand. Most of it is self-explanatory. For example, if I say this is a big tank, so you'll say, okay, it will make the text bigger. If I say this is a small tank, why it is used, you'll say it makes the text appear a little smaller than the normal text. That's it. Done. So here I want the copyright to be appearing little smaller in size, so I have used smaller. If you want copyright to appear bigger than the normal text, use a big tank. It all depends on you. So I hope this slide is okay for everyone. One more thing, absolute means something which has been taken out. So this big and small has been removed from HTML5 onwards because in HTML5 it has, this is actually styling effect. Reducing of font sizes is styling. So to have this styling, HTML has kept CSS part. It's not mixing it. So this big and small has been removed and kept in CSS, but it was there in prior to HTML5. That's why I've introduced it for you. So as some of them has said that they have understood till now, I'm moving ahead for next slide. Coming on, here I have got one output where there is something written here, but it has been struck off. And here there is something which has been underlined. For example, while you are taking notes or while you are reading, earlier we used to say you used to read textbooks, but nowadays no one is expecting you to read textbooks. Very few of them can be expected. So while reading the notes or textbook, you used to underline very important points. So there are certain things in the web page which you don't need, you strike them off. They are gone by. But there are certain things which are very important and you want them to be highlighted by underlining them. To make them highlighted and to scratch them, strike them off, you'll use two tags called as insert and delete. Usually what will happen is when the, suppose in case of e-commerce websites, if the product is finished, it's not available, you will see that it is out of stock will be written. But usually persons will read that out of stock later, but first they will read the name of the product and price of the product. Suppose while having the price of the product itself, if they have a cutting over there, that means that product is not available right now. So to tell that that product is not available, I use delete tag, DELE. What it will do is it will make me to strike out that particular text with a timestamp, telling that at this particular moment of time, that particular product was finished. Whereas insert, if I'm introducing some new products in the industry, in the e-commerce website, then those products can be highlighted out by making them as underlined that these products are available, has been introduced recently or inserted recently with a timestamp at what time and date it was inserted. So these two tags, one is insert, another is delete, are used for making a underline for the text telling that it has been introduced at this particular date and time, inserted at this date and time, or has been deleted at this particular date and time. So to have that date and time, we have got timestamp as an attribute, which you can include in it. So to have this effect, first thing, there is a title as usual. But you can see why do we need a title. You can see this is my first web page, this is my first web page, this is my first web page. Which page is this one talking about? This one is talking about. This one was talking about the heading. The next one was talking about the quotations. This one is talking about the insert and delete. If you have, if I would have kept a proper heading at that particular time, proper title at that time, I would have been able to distinguish which one belongs to what. Otherwise, I have to click it, open, and then get to know what it is belonging to. So that's the main purpose of title. So once title is done, I'm writing it from here till here one. Within the paragraph, I'm writing delete because here I need to strike it out. And as I said, there will be a timestamp date time equal to so and so date time, and what is the text to be struck off, and then insert at what date and time it was inserted. You can see I'm having some time with IST standards, and what is the text to be inserted. Then paragraph closing off, and then body closing off, and then the HTML closing off. So altogether, what do I mean from this program is, if I want some text to be struck off with a particular date and time at what it was struck off, then I will use delete tag. Similarly, if I want to highlight and underline something and tell that this was inserted at so and so date and time, then I will use ins tag, insert tag. So the same thing I have kept over here. These, like date and time, also has site. Site as the attribute. This site will tell from where have we deleted it. What is the reason for deleting it? Similarly, if I have inserted the item from where I have, from which warehouse I have included it or introduced it or inserted it. So then, as I told you earlier, there is a bold tag, there is italics tag. Here, in the last slide, we have seen underline. If you don't need the date and time attached to that underline as an insert value, then you have got one more tag called as U tag, underline tag. For example, today's special, it's not having any date and time. It's not the product which has been introduced. So I don't need any date and time for this one. Today's special, just it should be like a heading underlined. Then I'll use U tag for it. So just to keep up, you can see this text level is appearing in bold. So text level is coming here. Then this HTML is corresponding to this one. It has been again kept in bold. Then this entire statement has been kept in bold. Above also this is kept in bold. So you can see from here B is starting. So here I have introduced one more, Salmon. As I said earlier, the strong, bold, big, small, those all tags are actually obsolete from HTML5. It has been made as absolute because in CSS, their alternative is already available. So once the alternative is available, we need not use it. So what I'm trying to do is, for the first today's special, I have kept U tag, underline tag. But the same you can see in the below line also. It is also having an underline. The same effect can be introduced by using a style tag, style attribute, and in that one text decoration colon underline. The same impact as that of your underline. This was prior to HTML5, and this one is from HTML5 onwards. So this was the program. Please go through. I have kept some for it, some more details about what is to be learned. So I hope till this particular program, it's clear for everyone. Is there any doubt till here? Can we move ahead for next program? Okay. So in this second program, I want something like H2O written. Usually while writing, we'll write A1, A2 in mathematics. But while doing the computer programming, you don't have one to be written in the subscripts. Similarly, you want x to the power 2, x square, y square, something to be written, but you don't have anything to write, move the 2 little upper and make it little smaller. So for that reason, we have got subscript for making the text to appear down like A2, A1 like that.